The LPGA just embarrassed the entire WNBA using their own biggest star, and Aya Wilson's reaction exposed everything wrong with women's basketball today. What started as Caitlin Clark simply picking up a golf club turned into the most brutal reality check the WNBA has ever faced. And the jealousy that followed may have revealed exactly why one league is thriving while the other is stuck in neutral. Here's what nobody is talking about. When Caitlin Clark showed up at the Annika Prom in 2025, she didn't just bring a few extra fans. She brought an army. The LPGA literally had to change their broadcast plans because the demand was so insane. Just think about that for a second, that a basketball player touched a golf club, and suddenly women's golf saw its biggest viewership spike in years. Meanwhile, back in WNBA land, certain players were scrolling through social media, seething with jealousy, posting cryptic messages about media darlings getting everything handed to them. If you think the story is just about golf, you're missing the bigger picture entirely. Drop a comment below if you think Aya Wilson needs to stop the jealousy and support her fellow athletes instead. But that wasn't even the beginning of how deep this goes. The moment news broke that Caitlin would be teeing off at the prestigious event, something fascinating happened. The LPGA didn't hide her. They didn't downplay her presence. They didn't act like she was stealing attention from their regular players. Instead, they rolled out the red carpet like she was Tiger Woods himself. They posted behind-the-scenes content, swing analysis, and interviews, and treated her like the gift to women's sports that she truly is. Every fairway she walked turned into a mob scene. People who probably never watched women's golf in their entire lives suddenly cared about putting techniques and club selection. Networks scrambled for coverage rights. The media followed her around like she was the second coming of athletic greatness. What happened next shocked everyone who's been watching how the WNBA treats its biggest star. While the LPGA was celebrating and thanking Caitlin for bringing new eyes to the sport, while golf legends were lining up to take photos with her and praising her impact, the WNBA's official channels went completely silent. Not a single post, not a single acknowledgement, not even a small celebration of their own player dominating headlines and bringing positive attention to women's sports. It was like watching a parent ignore their child's biggest accomplishment because they're too proud to admit they misjudged them all along. The contrast couldn't have been clearer if someone had drawn it in neon lights. LPGA players were literally approaching Caitlin on the course, introducing themselves, and thanking her for what she was doing for women's sports. They understood something fundamental that certain WNBA circles seem to miss. When one female athlete rises, they all rise. When Caitlin Clark brings 1 million new viewers to women's golf, those viewers don't just vanish. They stay. They discover new players. They invest in the sport. But instead of celebrating a win for all women's athletics, Aya Wilson and her circle were busy liking tweets about media bias and posting vague comments about certain people getting undeserved attention. Here's where it gets even more revealing. The Annika program wasn't even supposed to be televised at first. It was meant to be a small, intimate event for serious golf fans. But once word got out that Caitlin Clark would be participating, the demand became so overwhelming that broadcasters literally rearranged their entire schedule. Streaming numbers shot through the roof. Social media engagement for the LPGA hit record levels. Golf courses across the country reported a surge in interest in women's golf programs. All because one basketball player decided to pick up a different kind of equipment for a single day. And what was the WNBA's response to their own star single-handedly elevating another women's sport? Silence. Absolute silence. But the quiet from the league's official channels was nothing compared to the passive-aggressive storm building on certain players' social media accounts. Without ever mentioning Caitlin's name directly, because she never does, Aya Wilson began posting about how some people have to work harder for recognition while others get it handed to them on a silver platter. The timing was so obvious, it could have been written in bold letters. Her teammates and friends started liking and sharing posts calling Caitlin overhyped, claiming the media only promotes one face, and suggesting that real champions don't need publicity stunts to stay relevant. The jealousy was so thick you could cut it with a knife that, let's make something perfectly clear. Caitlin Clark didn't ask for this attention. She didn't demand special treatment. She didn't force her way into the golf spotlight. She was invited. She showed up. She participated with grace and humility. And the sports world responded accordingly. She wasn't trying to overshadow anyone. She wasn't trying to steal the spotlight from other athletes. She was literally just playing golf for charity and enjoying herself. But apparently even that is too much for certain people to handle without turning it into a competition over who deserves more recognition. The sad part is what this reveals about the WNBA in 2025. While other leagues are figuring out how to maximize star power for everyone's benefit, while they understand that collaboration beats competition every single time, the WNBA seems stuck in a mindset that there is only room for one star at a time. They act as if attention is a zero-sum game where Caitlyn getting coverage automatically means everyone else gets less. That isn't just wrong, it actively harms the growth of the sport. Hit that like button if you agree the WNBA needs to embrace all of its stars instead of fueling unnecessary drama. What makes the situation even more ironic is that Caitlin Clark has done more for WNBA viewership in her short time in the league than almost anyone in recent memory. She brought new fans, younger demographics, increased merchandise sales, and mainstream media attention the league desperately needed. Yet instead of being celebrated as a rising tide that lifts all boats, she's treated like an outsider who doesn't deserve her success. The LPGA figured out in one weekend what the WNBA still hasn't understood after all these years. Star power is not a threat. It's an opportunity. Consider the staggering statistic. The Annika Pro-Am featuring Caitlin Clark generated more social media engagement for women's golf than their last 3 major championships combined. That is not normal. That's not a small boost. That is a seismic shift in attention that any smart organization would dream of. The LPGA recognized it immediately and capitalized on it flawlessly. They didn't waste time worrying about whether their regular players would feel overshadowed. They focused on the bigger picture, growing their sport and reaching new audiences. Meanwhile, certain WNBA players were busy crafting subtle shade on Instagram stories and liking comments about unfair media coverage. The pettiness would almost be funny if it weren't so damaging to the sport they claim to love. Every time Aya Wilson or others in her circle throw shade at Caitlyn's success, they're not just criticizing one player. They're sending a message to potential fans that women's basketball is full of drama and jealousy instead of unity and support. They are literally pushing people away with their refusal to celebrate success that isn't their own. Here's something else no one wants to say out loud. The LPGA players who met Caitlyn that day weren't threatened by her presence. They were thrilled. They understood that having one of the biggest names in women's sports on their course meant more attention for everyone. They took photos with her, posted about the experience, and thanked her publicly for bringing new energy to their tour. That's what professional athletes who understand the business side of sports do. They recognize and enough spotlight for everyone if you're smart about how you use it. Most importantly, they prove that Caitlin Clark's impact extends far beyond basketball, and any sport smart enough to embrace her will reap the benefits. The only question left is whether the WNBA will swallow its pride and learn from this, or keep watching from the sidelines while other leagues show them how it's done.